Praise and glory belongs to Allah, the eternal absolute, who created all things in pairs, and that those things in pairs have either negative or positive, feminine or masculine. And glory belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the opposite of all that. I bear witness there is no God but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last servant and messenger. How's everybody doing today? Assalamu alaikum. Lafia. I would like to, let's see, what subject? Okay, this subject was, okay, patience. Well, today, the Arabic word is Sabr, patience. You often will see this translated as patience, but actually, the more better meaning of the word would be steadfastness, consistency, constancy. And whatever you have in life, you must be constant if you want something to work, right? So, Surah Al-Asr, Wal-Asr, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. In Surah Al-Asr, it talks about this. وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Those who indulge or who constantly urge, towards, with patience, truth, and constancy, to the effect of that. They deal with the haqq, the reality, and they bilhaqqi while to be sabr, right? Haqq and sabr. They pushing the haqq. People translate as truth, but actually haqq is reality, the reality. And then sabr, patience or constancy. So they constantly are, dealing with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, dealing with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells them to do. And because they are constant in this, they're not lost. But also through the token of time. Inna lasana lafi kusr. Insani lafi kusr. Man is in loss. Right? Or time is slowly, the time is slowly squeezing, right, away, or squeezing him away from it. Or it is being squeezed, right? Something to the effect of this. It's something to deal with the squeezing and time passing because of the crushing or the pushing and squeezing of that time. And man becomes in loss. But not those who believe and join together in the mutual teachings, basically the truth with constancy and patience, right? Meaning they're consistent, they're constantly trying to do it. They consistently have the niyyah, the attention to worship Allah, to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And of course, the dhikr, the memories of Allah is there constantly. But the niyyah is always there. It's always there to do something to please Allah, do something to read, do something to fix something in society that's corrupt, do something to rise up against the white supremacy. See, which is the essence of corruption here on earth. White Zionism, Judaism, or not Judaism, white Zionist Jews, they have a system of white supremacy. They are the head of all white supremacists. If they're the heads of all white supremacy here. There's a white Arab. If there is a white Arab, a white Jew, a white Christian, a white pagan, they're the heads of corruption in this earth. That's not to say that some people, that are African, they don't do some corrupt things. But if you was to look at history, and the Quran talks about and I'm just using the general method of using history because the Quran brings up its own history. But you take that general method and you apply it to other things. You say, okay, it's gave me the concept of researching history, looking at history. So we go look at history. We look at, the Europeans' history and their contact with the world and what they did on the world stage. When you look at that, you have to then say, okay, they are the most corrupt. They have the furthest impact. So that culture is a type of culture. That psychological and actually physical culture is a culture that is the most corrupt in this world. So you have to put that in your heart, in your mind. Even the time of Rasulullah, the Romans, he talked about the Persians and the Romans. I mean, the Quran talked about that the Romans had defeated them, and that, the Persians had defeated the Romans. And the Quran mentions that in Surah Al-Rum, that the Romans was defeated in a land nearby. But then it gave a certain amount of years, they will be victorious. And it says in the Quran that on that day, that victory occurs, the believers will rejoice. Not because Rome won, but because the believers would win a battle of their own. Right? So, patience and constancy in turning to Allah, constancy of, even if you let's say you forget, let's say you get mad, let's say someone down here is looking at you crazy and you're like, you just want to bust him upside his head, right? Or you want to bust her upside her head, so you like, okay, I have to bring Allah even more to remembrance, although I suppose I already have Allah there. But if I forgot, I must be constant in bringing Allah up, right? Because we're human beings, we're going to slip. But we must be constant in bringing Allah up. Constant in our mind, constant in the way that we deal with people. The Prophet ﷺ and Ahlul Bayt, or the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and his Sahaba, did they do it like this? Right? Did they do it that way? Right? And if we find ourselves in a situation that we believe or we think that they didn't go through that situation, what does the Book of Allah say? Because the Book of Allah has all the general situations in there. Because see, although in the time of Prophet Muhammad they might have been selling crack, that they was doing wine. And really there's nothing new under the sun. Mentalities have always been the same. It's just that the means and how people are going to do the things that they're going to do that coincides with that mentality, that may change. But the mentalities itself will never change. You're going to have corrupt. You're going to have the non-corrupt. You're going to have people struggling. You're going to have people that's not trying to struggle. You're going to have people that care, and you're going to have people that don't care. You're going to have some people that say they care, but they really do care. They really don't care. And you're going to have some people that say they don't care, but they really do care. See? And so we have to understand the different mentalities. You can only reach that understanding if you're constant in applying the deen to yourself and purifying yourself and studying what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed in his book and through the Prophet and what the Prophet has put down in his practice through the Sunnah and what he has said in his ahadith and what he's done in his akhlaq, his conduct. Now, akhlaq, we often say akhlaq. Now, akhlaq is connected to sabr because here's why. Akhlaq, it doesn't really mean your outward conduct. That's adab. Your adab is your outward conduct. Akhlaq really deals with what is deep inside your heart. The conduct that manifests from deep inside your heart. That's akhlaq. So when you tell a person to have adab, that's saying, okay, for example, say we going to a function. Say we're going somewhere and I want you to behave. I say, man, have some adab. Right? That's the more proper thing to say. Have some adab. Because this person might not even have akhlaq. This person may not have, it's from their heart they are a person that does righteous conduct, really. Right? But the thing about that is this. Have some adab. Know the situation you're in. You have some type of logic. You have some type of wisdom or logic in this situation. You know how to, when you want to really get something, how to, put on something, how to put on something when you're in a certain situation. So have some adab. For that person, that may be a hard thing to do. But akhlaq deals with the inner nature. And in order for you to have akhlaq, this is one of the main ingredients, sabr. You have to view yourself. Do I match my conduct and the way I think? Not just what I do, but do the way I think, does it coincide with the Quran? Does it coincide with the way that I behave? Does it coincide with the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ? Does it coincide with that method? Because Sunnah means method of practice. And that method of practice, the Ahlul Bayt were the best of it. The Sahaba were also those who had many, the best of it. Especially the Shuba are the close companions. They had the akhlaq down. Okay, the Sahaba, that was anybody that talked and saw and heard the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So, that's anybody in general. So actually a lot of people get it misunderstood. The difference between Shuba and the Sahaba. Sahaba was just anybody that heard and talked to the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. But Shuba was those who was intimate Sahaba, or intimate companions. Those who, you could basically say their akhlaq, they had akhlaq of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had practiced like, right? So indeed, you might find yourself in a situation where somebody's looking at you crazy. Someone said that you're crazy. Now, do you implement the Book of Allah upon yourself and become the best example? The Quran gives us advice. When you see somebody engaged in their ignorance, you say, "Peace we seek, not the ignorant." Right? And you pass by with humbleness. When you see somebody engaged in vain talk, you walk by in a humble state. It don't mean in a coward or weak state. It means in a humble and dignified manner. You walk by, and, you give them the respect. You nod your head, and wave, and how you doing? How you doing, brother? Okay, sister, and I'm on my way. Have a good day, right? Oh, no. Oh, man, why don't you come over? Oh, no. I'm okay, brother. I'm okay, sister. I got some things to do. You have a good day, right? So that's the akhlaq, right? So I mean, there's many situations out there, Constancy is a must, and it comes from within your qalb, your heart. And according to the Ahlul Bayt, when they describe qalb, they say it is your intellect. Okay, your aql. Another word for the qalb is your aql. Right? So that is your aql. Right? And inside your aql, or inside your qalb, right, you have to have niyyah, intention. And your niyyah, your intention, must be fi sabilillah, for the pleasure of Allah, to please Allah. How do you please Allah? Doing what He says. Having the intention to do what He says. Right? Upon yourself, reflecting outwards to others. So, that's basically all that I want to say. I remind myself first and foremost, and you, that, hey, we must do better, strive to be better, and then we can get better. That's basically what I have to say on that. The next time I come, I will indeed be bringing some of the works that I did, and I will break them down for you, and then I'll tell you it, and this will be a little bit better speaking to you. But so Assalamu alaikum, Alafia, Black liberation, Black independence, and may Allah aid those who are impressed and those from others, and may Allah help us not oppress ourselves, inshallah. I see it's raining really, really bad. God's getting a little bit more, but I thank you very much for having me speak again, and you indeed have a good day, good afternoon, and a good night. And so really what I'm saying is, when I say good, I'm referring to I want you to elevate in your minds. I want you to elevate in your heart. I want you to elevate in your practice, in your worship, whether you be a Muslim or whether you be a non-Muslim. All of us can, take this and do better. So, generally, because the Quran announces to Nas, and Nas, man, actually the Arabic word, and I'll leave after this. Bashar, the Arabic word Bashar actually means human being. But the word Nas, when one of the Imams of Al-Bayt was asked this, they was asked why the person's called Nas, and he said because it's connected to the Arabic word Nasi, which means forget. And what it's referring to is that when Adam alayhi salatu wasalam forgot the covenant that he made with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that made him slip. And he says that man, and plus us too, man, we indeed are forgetting. Actually, I have to go back and look and see if that said specifically about Adam. But I know for a fact that when it said Nasi, it said that because man is forgetful. And that is the reason why Nas was given to man. So, indeed, we forget. And inshallah, the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will constantly try to do. And this links us back into Surah Al-Asr. Wal-Asr. So, Udu Billah min Shaitanir Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Wal-Asr inna al-insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Peace be upon you all. Thank you very much.